Well, I did it again. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks. Coming at you with the second take of this recording. As it turns out, after a good 40-minute long cast of this exact game, I forgot to turn on my microphone. And so indeed, we ended up with another voiceless cast. One day I'll learn to check that before I start recording in the morning. Anyways, take two here today. I guess I've inadvertently spoiled this game for myself, but I think it is a banger overall. Definitely some impressive Navy tactics come out during this one, and I want to share those with you. So spawning in the southwestern corner, representing our red team, we have Fatal Baguette. Pretty epic name. Definitely brings me back to the days of those martial arts games. Gosh, I can't remember the name of them right now. That's unfortunate. I can't believe it. That'll come back to me later on in the cast. I'll blurt the name out at some random point, and you'll all be like, that's what he's talking about. But Fatal Baguette, what a cool name. Our French player going to be contesting the seas here, the Northern Sea, for the red team. Spawning on the northeastern side for our blue team, we have Tangibility. Tangibility, the ability to touch. I guess very active player here. 31 true skill, definitely the top of the ladder here as far as this match is concerned. Not far behind him is Fargo here, this green player, but not quite on top. And so Tangibility has the honor of representing the blue team with his bright, brilliant blue color today. Going to be contesting the South Sea. Now lined up against Tangibility here is going to be Pickle Daddy, the yellow player for the red team here. Going for a naval start right off the bat. Of course, that makes sense. We are the naval player after all in this position, so going for a naval start is very good. We definitely need to get some units out quickly to basically lock down the naval production here for the player contrary to us. In the mirrored position, playing for the blue team, opposing Fatal Baguette, is Red Dragon 2010, going for a hovercraft lab, which is interesting. Not a bad idea on this map, actually, I think, because those hovercraft can always go around the sides here, take advantage of the weak points around this part of the map, or up onto the sides right here. Very, very wide array of options, I would say, for anybody going for that hovercraft plant, especially on Supreme Straits, which is our map today. So I think I quite like to see this after all. Going for a bit of reclaim, that's not bad at all. Definitely want to see this metal extractor taken. Some of these metal extractors out in the water. You are at a bit of a disadvantage playing against this position here. If you're, this map is mirrored, so I guess we'll call this the ocean lane or the sea lane position. If you're playing against the sea lane position, you can see that they have 3 metal extractors back here, 3 up here, and then, that's going to give them a grand total of 6. So if they claim this island, that's going to be a total of 9. Contrary, if you have the position over here, you're going to have these 3 metal extractors, you're going to have this one and these 2, which gives you 6. And then if you have these 2, you're going to have 8 total. Now you can also claim this one, of course, and these ones over here, but these are going to be a little bit more contended by the other players, so you might not be able to hold on to these. So if this island gets taken by the ocean lane player here, then they're definitely going to have an advantage over you eventually over the long run. However, if you manage to deny them getting this island under their control, you're actually going to be in a really nice advantageous position. With hovercraft, I definitely would love to see one of these just sent straight across all the way to this island to get metal extractors, get defenses set up, make it really inconvenient to push through there with a commander or a builder or anything else that might build on those islands over there. Or build on this island over here. There's also these islands here, which are also some metal extractors. Typically, these are taken by either one of these players right here, by their commander walking into the water, or by this player, the water lane commander here, sending the commander or a construction construction boat over here to build that. Fighting on our front line, we have Fargo, the second highest rated player for the blue team today, accompanied by Paul Atreides, the great Duke of Atreides, the head of the Dune universe. I'm trying to think of more titles off the top of my head, but they aren't coming so easily. Anyway, Paul Atreides, that's a character from Dune. I think the second movie adaptation should be coming out pretty soon for the Dune universe, which I thought will be pretty interesting. I thought the first one was pretty good, so I'm excited to see the second one whenever it comes out. took a bit of liberties that I thought were fair. There were some that were greater than others, but I thought overall it was pretty good. Reset 99, pushing pretty far forward here, actually. Taking a lot of fire. We do actually see 3 commanders here brought to the front lines from the blue team, as opposed to just 2 for the red. And so, for that being said, oh yeah, we were looking to get a double comm trade there, but it looks like that will be abandoned as Reset 99 retreats from the front lines. 29% health to their name, and Mr. Man here to help Fargo establish a lead. Now, at this point, we do see ships already produced by Tangibility. So as far as keeping this player pinned in with our own forces, we are not doing phenomenally here. I think these dolphins should definitely be over here harassing this area, but I think we also need to stop just producing dolphins and skaters. We definitely need to get a few submarines out. In fact, we actually have them queued right now. Look at that. Wonderful. Just what I was saying. Yeah, we need to start building our compositions up so that we have a mixture of units and we can actually tackle every single possible combination of units that the enemy might throw at us. Tangibility here, going to secure this advantage with these metal extractors up here, and it's exactly the same as I was just talking about on this other side. With Tangibility taking over these metal extractors, he's definitely going to grant himself, or herself, whoever it may be, a huge metal advantage over this player down here. I also see Pickle's Daddy has forgotten to take this metal extractor, so that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's definitely going to cost them. Is this metal extractor worth extra? 2.3. No, okay, it's just the same value as any other metal extractor, but of course, it's an extra 2.3 metal per second that accumulates over time and could definitely be an extra ship or two. Might lead to the victory in a battle. When playing these Navy games, I noticed that people were asking for a refined naval tutorial, and so I wanted to cover this game because there's quite a bit of Navy action in it, and I thought it might serve as a good de facto tutorial, and I also wanted to hear from you guys down below whether you think that you'd like to see a dedicated Navy tutorial or if this video answers most of your questions. This is really nice. We need to see more of these. The resurrection submarines here are absolutely critical to sustaining your Navy. You want to always be reclaiming your enemy's sunken boats or resurrecting them and folding them back into your Navy. You always want to make sure that you are eating up as much metal as you can because these naval ships, they cost so much metal for every single one of them. Pickle Daddy's commander in a little bit of trouble here, although it looks like these dolphins are just going to avoid that and go after the economy instead, which I think is probably a good idea. Although maybe we could have taken down that commander. Now that I'm looking at it, down to 40%, these dolphins weren't even that damaged for it. So yeah, maybe the commander could have gone down there. That might have been a nice pick. For now, though, it looks like those dolphins will basically be mopped up, and Pickle Daddy will have no trouble rebuilding from the little bit of damage that was done here, resurrecting and whatnot. Now, Fatal Baguette has won this lane quite impactfully, actually. Done a tremendous job of securing this. We are just all destroyers. We're very destroyer heavy right now. Looks like that's basically all we're going for. They're very expensive, so it's every one of those that you lose is definitely a pain. Oh, but we're turtling up here, and I don't think that's the right decision. I think we definitely want to put a lot more money into units here instead of static defense, because the static defense isn't going to let you capture these metal extractors. It's not going to let you take down their units. It's just going to keep you. It's just going to delay the inevitable, essentially. So yeah, I think that's actually going to bite them in the rear in time to come. Fatal Baguette here pushing forward and actually going to secure this island. This hovercraft was sent way too late, and it wasn't actually able to get any sort of defenses up to dissuade this commander from pushing forward here. So it looks like for the most part, yeah, Fatal Baguette is going to have a firm grasp over this island. So this is interesting. We do have a basically mirrored matchup here where Tangibility has now captured this island, meaning that they are going to have the advantage on the southern sea. Fatal Baguette has the island advantage over here on the northern sea, so they are going to have the advantage there. And so we're probably going to have a split map scenario. You can see these resurrection submarines hard at work. Elsaw's here, not able to fire at the submarines underwater. So this is a decent idea, decent combination of units here. We definitely need to be taking down the submarine. There we go. There are a few destroyers out though, and they can fire omnidirectionally. They just have to launch the depth charge into the water, and it will fall down to the demise of whatever is lurking down in the depths below. So for the most part, those destroyers are able to mop up all of these submarines nice and readily. Yep, those go down. The Grim Reapers here, the resurrection submarine, here to pick back up those submarines and fold them back into the army composition. That's very, very nice. when you're looking at your naval composition, you're looking at resurrecting versus reclaiming, you definitely want to gauge, like, how many submarines do I have? How many destroyers do I have? How many assault frigates do I have? Look at your balance of units, right? And then decide whether you need to resurrect or reclaim. So I think resurrecting this submarine is definitely the right decision. Love to see this guy moved over to help with that as well. Looks like T2 has been handed out now. We expect T2 to be built by the backline players here. Of course, the tech is always going to be a lot easier if you don't have to fight for your life. And so, indeed, these backline players are going to get their Tech 2 up and running very swiftly. We see a T2 lab here. Well, it looks like this constructor is paused, so this is slowly losing value. Oh no, okay, so we're rebuilding this again, making sure that we're gonna lose any metal on that from decay. Careful, don't suck my comm. Yep, there's life advice for you. Don't suck another man's comm. We've got some aggravators here on the front lines, putting in a nice little bit of work, making sure that these guys don't push in too hard. Otherwise, they're going to pay the price for it. Destroyers up north pushing in as well, and you can see just how ineffective that static defense is. These destroyers can completely outrange the Coral, the heavy laser turret thing, so they end up being basically worthless. Submarine, or rather the torpedo launcher, launching those submersible torpedoes, yeah, doesn't get much effect. Maybe one or two shots off on this grouping of destroyers here as their long range barrage of cannons, barrage of cannon fire, barrage of cannons barraging with fire. All of that and more. Yeah. There's no answer here. We have hovercraft. We're still producing hovercraft. I think that's the wrong idea. I think we need to reclaim this at this point and start producing units. What do we do to counter these oppressors? Well, we can always go for submarines and riptides. Let's see what the cost is here. That's 500 and 400. That'd be 990, which would be a little bit more expensive than a destroyer. That's interesting. That's actually different than Armada. Armada, if you make one riptide and one assault frigate and one submarine, it's actually slightly cheaper than a destroyer would be. So interesting that it's not that way with Cortex. So it must be more efficient to just build destroyers. 4, 5, 6,000. So it's a little cheaper on the energy front, but still more expensive on the metal front, which definitely matters a little bit more. And the lab goes down. Wow, it's not even like it sunk or anything. It is completely destroyed. Well, that Red Dragon is very, very quickly forced off of the naval battlefield here. Excellently done by Fatal Baguette, winning the naval field of play here. This is a great time to make your transition into submersible units, right? Those underwater tanks, any of those things. Once you make that transition, it's no problem to storm the enemy beaches with 100 amphibious tanks. That's the word I was looking for. Amphibious. Storm the beaches with 100 amphibious tanks, and you can easily secure a wonderful victory for your team. Looks like Fatal Baguette was getting the T2 lap up, so we're going for that T2 naval economy. I don't hate that whatsoever. I would always consider, if you are this player, you're playing this naval lane, consider building a land-based economy here by just building a couple of construction turrets, a big row of construction turrets, sort of like this. Whoops. Forgetting my hotkeys here. Oh, why can I not? Oh, there we go. My mouse macro must be set to a different configuration for a different game. Anyway, set up a big line of construction turrets like this, and then, of course, just build some T2 economy in the back of this. That way you don't actually have to focus on building economy in the ocean, because you're already protecting the ocean, so you don't want to expose yourself even more than you have to. And so it's nice to have that economy tucked back and away a little bit. Of course, if your front line falls here, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But if your front line falls, then you're already in trouble. Looks like there was some aggression out here. We do see a dolphin trying to get a hit in on some of these tidal generators. That's what those are called. Getting a little bit of work done. Some of these tidal generators are falling. We're teching up to T2, but I really don't think we have the metal for it. Yeah, we really don't. We don't have the army for it or the metal for it. We're not reclaiming any of these wrecks. There's still a huge enemy army out here. I don't think this is the right idea. We might get this lab up if we can reclaim all of this here. In fact, let's take a look at exactly what's over here. About 1,200 metal in the ground here. Not bad, but definitely going to be not producing units for a good long while here. I think tangibility is in a great place. We do see those T2 ships coming out now. We see some skaters for anti-air pumped out as well. It's very nice to see. These missile trucks, or well, they're not missile trucks. They're missile cruisers. That's the right word for them. I know I called one of these the missile corvettes for the Navy missile carriers or missile launchers, missile trucks in one of my other videos. I went back and watched that and I cringed a little bit. Anyway, the missile cruiser, a great siege option. We can definitely see that, laying down a whole lot of suppressing fire wherever there's any light defenses. Those missile cruisers can definitely be a valuable asset. Whole lot of these seekers here, the fast attack hovercraft, forced to make land as these dolphins catch them. And wow, that dolphin fire is oppressive. Yeah, look at those guys melting there. You can see the LSL firing away as well, and they just do so much damage. The destroyers are here too. Yeah, a lot of those get mopped up here. There's also laser defenses up here, so I think those will also have a grand old time shooting down these light aircraft, anti-aircraft, I should say. Getting a little bit stuck on the wreckages there. The lasers can't shoot through them. But I think, yeah, we're pretty much cleaned up here. Very nice hold by those laser turrets. Oh, I must have missed it, but it looked like a commander was sniped here. Indeed, Tangibility's commander was sniped, but there's no resurrection submarines or anything like that to contest this, so unfortunately that commander is probably going to go right back to Tangibility as soon as his army gets back into place. Yeah, up on the northern side, there's no contest. This is entirely won by Fatal Baguette, who has secured a magnificent naval lead here, stepping into that T2 naval economy. Very nicely done. This is probably the best way to do this. The other way would be to use these to build the floating construction turrets in a big array, big grid type thing, and then build your economy under those. But this works just as well to get some of these constructors, these assist bots, or assist engineers, the naval engineers, to work on some of the construction projects over here. There's no rush, right? Fatal Baguette is under essentially no pressure here. The enemy's labs have all been destroyed. They basically have to rebuild from nothing while we're already stepping into a T2 economy. So Fatal Baguette has a huge lead, and there's not a lot that he has to worry about. They have to worry about. Bombers brought out here to bring down these mexes. This is great, but I think it's a little bit too late. We already have a tremendous economy advantage here for Tangibility from having the T2 economy up and running now. We have these metal extractors already converted. So I think this harassment is not really going to shake up the economy here for Tangibility all too badly. Yeah, go for the economy centers, like the energy production and stuff. I think that's definitely a much better hit. Definitely could bomb these these turrets right here. Oh, this is an advanced geothermal plant. We definitely should go for this. That's a great target. I don't know if that's been scouted yet. We actually have quite a lot of bombers. I would love to see these targeting this advanced geothermal plant. I think that'd be an excellent hit to the economy here of Tangibility. Definitely a better target. Meanwhile, a whole lot of damage has been done over here. The entire army here for our yellow player, Pickle Daddy, has been wiped away, and the T2 lab falls. With that, just a bunch of LSAW, just the T1, and I guess some fire support here from the longbow. We're able to bring down the entire naval presence of Pickle Daddy, who's going to have to retreat onto land. Indeed, we already see a air lab, so I guess that's the transition that we're going to go for. So yeah, we've got the split map position. We have both of these players holding on here. Trying to see if these bombers are going to get any more value out. There is a SAM battery out here. This can shoot down these things pretty quickly, I mean. They do get a couple of those wind turbines to chain react on each other. That's nice. Better than nothing. A couple of fighters swarming out here, trying to check out what's over here, but most of them just getting shot down by the anti-air fire from these skaters and the longbow. Very nicely done here by Tangibility, securing control of this lane. And I think it's about time that player also starts building some amphibious units. That's always the goal that you're looking for on Supreme Straits. Can you build those amphibious units? Looks like Vanderfalk has been pushed back here, and indeed this frontline player, I believe that was Concept Chaos, has also been pushed in, and so the front line here is caving rather quickly. These Tiger tanks providing a meaningful challenge to this red team here. They slowly start pushing in. The Mammoth has been brought around and is now holding the front line here. We can see this guy. Very, very nice. Now where do we go from here, right? What's the plan? I think what you're looking for is which of your naval sides is going to win. And so for the red team, they're looking at the Red Sea, the Northern Sea, and they're thinking, okay, what can we take advantage of? And okay, yeah, Orange actually already taken advantage of that. We're building a whole bunch of these Seekers here in order to, I'm guessing, flood them across this ocean and do a little bit of harassment here. For the blue team, we'd be looking at exactly the same, but the opposite, and we're thinking, okay, the Southern Sea has been won, so we're going to take advantage of that and start flooding units, amphibious units, through that pathway until eventually we get to a winning condition here. So I think if you're a backline player and you're playing Supreme Straits, we've got some Shiva coming out, so these are a great option. You can of course route these underwater. I would definitely send a few of these underwater and down here. Basically just send them in this sort of a pathway. And then up this beach right here, they're going to pop up and they're going to take care of this entire base. I mean, those Shiva are really powerful. At the best, you're going to be able to move forward all the way into these players' base. But otherwise, you can just, you could just take this base and then this frontline player no longer needs your support here. I think that's just a map awareness thing, and I think as you get better at bar, that's definitely something that you develop a sense for, like, what are the actual opportunity paths here. But otherwise, I think sending those Shiva to the front line is probably the next best option. I was reading the spectator chat here. They're talking about what is easier to capture, and I think I agree with them. I think what they're saying here is that it's easier to capture your sea if you conquer this island here, and I think that's absolutely correct. If you can get control over that island early on, you can absolutely secure a metal advantage early on, and that of course just scales upwards with time. Seekers are moving out here, routed up to the northern section. I guess they're going to try and knock Red Dragon 2010 completely out of this match. At least with the direction that they're headed right now. Now this is really annoying. These missile cruisers are just launching these exploding munitions here. You can see it starts as a rocket and then it explodes into a payload of a whole bunch of these little missiles, which I absolutely love. I think it's a great design. But they're so annoying to deal with because you can't really do anything to attack this. It's just sieging you from so far away. Absolute pain in the neck. Yeah, really tough situation to be in. I think I would like to see sumos as well instead of these mammoths. Don't get me wrong, the mammoths are of course a very powerful unit, but if you want to push a front line, you're going to need a little bit more mobility, and that's something that I think the sumos are going to give you just a bit more of. And also the other thing is that if you have one big target, it's pretty easy to burst down with just a whole lot of artillery pieces, like a bunch of hounds or Shiva or whatever. If you have these sumos and you spread them out, you make sure that you keep them separated, the AoE effect from the Shiva isn't going to be that huge, and so in that case, you're actually going to have a more efficient time with them not being able to burst down a single one of your sumos. Instead, they're going to have to distribute their firepower. Kind of just taking advantage of the way that the AI normally fires its weapons, the way it picks targets. Now the EMP bombers are here. They're a little bit late though. There was that big push of army units, but those were, quite a while ago. So yeah, these units may be paralyzed, but they really can't be pushed into at the moment, which is sort of unfortunate. Another bombing run. Very nice to see though. Yeah, every second that these are paralyzed is just free damage, right? So we might as well take it. Paralyzing walls. That wall isn't going anywhere. Yeah, these Shiva just standing by and taking the hit here. The Sheldon aren't a great counter to Shiva, but there's not a perfect counter to Shiva anyway. until you get into those T3 units later on in the game. Looks like we had some sort of shenanigans happen back here. A bombing run, I believe. Looks like it didn't get too much of the economy back here, but it definitely... Oh no, that must have been the Seekers. Yeah, the Seekers must have pushed through back here. Because none of this economy is scratched up. It was just the construction turrets that blew up here. So that must have been the Seekers that ran across this base. Yeah, you can see this entire base is ravaged. That makes sense. Ah, okay, so we do have the amphibious gantry. We're going all the way up to T3. Not a bad idea. I think the Marauder is exceptionally powerful. Oh, we already have him queued. Look at that. Yeah, the Marauder is exceptionally powerful here. The Turtles are pretty good too. They're much cheaper, so if you wanted to mass something... Well, they're not that much cheaper, actually. In my mind, they were a lot cheaper than the Marauder, but I guess the cost difference isn't really that high. It's like 75% the cost of a Marauder. The Titan, of course, being the king daddy, the big baddie of the Armada toolkit. That's always what you're hoping to get up towards in the later stages of the game there. Fatal Baguette just accentuating this naval victory here, making sure that there is absolutely no way that they're going to retake this. We have the anti-aircraft ships positioned all along the coastline here, very nicely done. We have the T2 metal extractors coming out, the underwater naval metal extractors. Very nicely done, and it looks like we're going for round 2 of sending these hovercraft across. I love the little particle effects on these. They just make this army look so much more dangerous. Let's get a shot of these bad boys moving. I love these. I love when big swarms of units manage to get their time in the sun. Very, very cool. Storming the beaches. We shall fight on the beaches and we shall fight on the shores type beat, for sure. Finding some advanced metal extractors. Pushing forward into an enemy base here. Looks like they are going to ravage this back line. Oh, our guy died. Resume manual control here. They find a commander. Commander does live, though. And it looks like all of them are completely mopped up. Nice little hold there. They definitely tried their best, those Seekers, I mean. They just couldn't get it done. The gantry's up, the Marauders are slowly popping out one by one. Looks like we did have some of the Seeker moving across the southern sea as well to try and harass down here. It doesn't look like too much was accomplished, though. Yeah, mostly just scouting, looks like. At the very least, that's the best that they were able to do. What's our backline strategy here? We have the T2 Air Lab out. We have 2 hovercraft platform producing simultaneously. We have the T1 aircraft as well. We have a lot of labs back here. Oh, and nukes are queued up as well. So that is quite nice. There are anti-nukes, but I suppose if you build enough of them, you're going to be able to overwhelm them. Always a possibility. But yeah, we see this production facility is being built right now. We're spreading out these construction turrets, which is not bad. Feels a little inefficient, but I suppose if you're not planning on dedicating too much build power here in the first place, then it actually ends up working out all right. Darrow commenting that Blue has also has overbuilt too many T1 ships. I agree to the extent that I don't think Dolphins are very useful anymore. In fact, I don't think much of these naval units are very useful anymore, except for maybe the Skater and anti-aircraft ship. Of course, it's important to make sure that none of these big Skater waves can push through your navy, but I think he has more than enough as is right now. So I guess I kind of agree here. I don't think he has yet, but I think if he keeps producing, he's definitely overproducing here. We should definitely focus on Marauders, maybe some Titans, maybe some Turtles. Make a nice little composition of beachable units. See these Skaters, not very good against these T2 aircraft, but really the best option that you have, and definitely good enough. Came in here, the Cortex hovercraft tank. Very nice little design on those. You can see the little rotor blades spinning around to give them the thrust they need to stay afloat. A nice little cushion of air. I like that about the hovercraft units. You can basically, yeah, they're realistic enough that you can kind of see how they might actually work. I wonder if there are real hovercraft tanks. Somebody will have to let me know down in the comments if they actually know about that. I have no idea. Black Hydra's here, the mother of ships. This is your end game. This is your end game ship that you're looking for here. What a devastating beast! I love the little visor thing in the front too. It kind of makes it look like a big head. You know what it reminds me of? Maybe I will try and flash a picture of it on the screen. It reminds me of the pea shooter from Plants vs. Zombies. I'll see if I can put a picture of that on the screen. I don't know. Test my editing skills here. Yeah, it reminds me of the pea shooter from Plants vs. Zombies. It's just like a hilarious random unit. Marauders moving forward here. They don't manage to get too much done. EMP bombers are out. Very nice. That's one excellent way to shut down these Marauder pushes here. Just stop them from being able to move. Yeah. Whoa. Impulse bombers coming in too. Didn't catch those. Yeah, that's another great way to stop these Marauder pushes. The siege of fire from both this Black Hydra and both of these Black Hydra, I guess I should say, starting to annoy this player. Definitely understandable. I'd be annoyed too. We probably are looking for some sort of artillery. Oh, speaking of artillery pieces, we've got some of these long-range artillery spiders here. We could definitely move these towards the beach and have them start attacking these Black Hydra. They have a huge range, I believe. Yeah, really, really long-range unit here. So we definitely could outrange those. Well, we can't outrange the Black Hydra, but we can definitely get close enough to start firing at them, which I think is a great idea. Indeed, doing about 2.5% per hit, which is actually really, really nice. Yeah, I think these are actually going to be really effective here. Shutting down this siege, or at least forcing them to reconsider holding that position, because now they are taking damage. It's not just a free siege, right? Radar jammer boat is now taken down, meaning that these can actually all fire at the radar presence of these Black Hydra. Those Black Hydra are so large that the radar presence is hardly ever going to be off of where their exact position is. This is something I talk about a lot, but if you are playing as a backline position, I would definitely recommend that you throw down a couple pinpointers, right? Three is basically where you need to call it. That's as much effectiveness as you're going to get out of them. But yeah, just throw down 3 pinpointers and your whole team is going to be grateful, whether they, verbally acknowledge it or not. Every single one of your artillery shots into a radar fog is going to be just perfectly accurate. And there's something to be said for the amount of wasted shots that there are on the battlefield when those radar blips are inaccurate. We do also see a spy bot here. I think this is actually in a really nice position. Let's see what this can see. Show it to me. There we go. Yeah, this spy bot actually ends up giving quite a nice little bit of vision here on the side of this part of this choke point on Supreme Straits. Very nice indeed. We see bombers moving around this side now. Fighters pushing forward. These are just T1 fighters though, so not the perfect unit. I guess there is no perfect unit. Everybody's special. Every unit's special. But these definitely aren't going to hold up against those T2 fighters, wherever those might be. I guess there are none out yet, so better than nothing units. The bombs are dropped. The energy converters light up, but the actual fusion reactor does not. So we are actually spared here. Akai Higbana better be counting his lucky stars that these bombers did not manage to, ruin this entire base. That fusion reactor here brought to 8% health. Absolutely hilarious. Could have been so much worse here for Akai Higbana, but instead managed to stay alive by the skin of his teeth there. Probably because of this huge array of SAM turrets, by the way. That was really good prediction that he built all of these up here. I'm trying to see what the lead here is. We do have a Juggernaut out. That's quite nice. We also have the amphibious units being produced out of this, but we don't have any Titans or anything. We're just producing these Marauder. I think it's time to start producing Titan. I'm not sure exactly why our production is so slow here. We're using all of our metal. I guess it's just because we're still producing these T2 ships. Yeah, I think we need to stop producing these. I think maybe, at the very least, maybe just the anti-air ships, because these are always going to be useful. But yeah, I think we just need to switch into producing fully amphibious units here. Titans or Marauders or something. Just make sure that we have a whole lot more. You always are looking to do more damage than the amount of metal costs, right? That's the trade-off you're looking for. This Juggernaut's going to be great for pushing forward here. Definitely a good option because these, although their plasma shotguns do end up bouncing off of these shield bubbles, they will deteriorate it quite quickly, and of course their laser of doom does not destroy the, or rather, it is not deflected by the plasma deflector. Juggernaut starts to self-destruct, but there's a commander here to take it down already. Commander does fall, along with most of this base, actually. However, it does bring down the Juggernaut. Quite nice to see. There are more coming out here. We're switching completely to Juggernaut production, which I think is a great idea. Getting these Juggernauts out and onto the field is always going to be nice, and you can see just how easy it is to expand these naval fusion plants, right? You just queue up a big square of these energy converters, you queue up a big square of these fusion reactors. Definitely the easiest to scale as far as positioning goes. You don't have to worry about any of that. You just queue it up and it works and it's great. Very prone to bombing though, like a single group of torpedo bombers, maybe 5 or so torpedo bombers that managed to get into this backline because easily ravaged this entire base. If the commander was sniped too, yeah, that would all go up. That'd be a real pain. Big nuke push here. Looks like I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nukes. Yep, that lines up. 5 nukes were sent out there, but it looks like that's not quite enough to punch through the anti-nuke systems of the blue team here. So for the time being, they are safe, though I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more anti-nukes coming up. Juggernaut now making land. We are pushing it straight into the beachfront of purple here. There's a lot of units. I don't know if this amount of units beats a Juggernaut. Maybe if they're microed really well, you get a full surround on it. You might be able to do it, but those Juggernauts, I mean, they are so tanky, I don't know. Looks like the commander is going to move forward. I think that's probably a better idea. Yeah, just move the commander forward, degun the Juggernaut, and you're probably going to have a better day than if you lose your entire army just trying to stop a single Juggernaut. That does, of course, mean that you can resurrect the Juggernaut if you wanted to, but we have our own T3 gantry, so we might as well just produce them at that point. No sense in overcomplicating things. Wait, what is it? Akihiganbana. Akihiganbana has been rebuilding here. You can see these energy converters have to come online because when that bombing run came through, it destroyed all of the energy converters. So we had a ton of energy there, but we didn't actually have any converters to switch it all over. Commander moves forward here. Deguns the Juggernaut. Nicely done. Silver Star Commander for taking out that Juggernaut. And it is going to spare this entire army from having to deal with that. That is quite nice. The front line has been pushed in rather dramatically here. It looks like blue has been very proactive about making sure that this right-hand side is very open and exposed. Similar to red, how red has exposed this side. However, the forces of the red team have not managed to push in the same way. So for now, I think blue has the advantage here. I think I like their position quite a lot better, just because this entire side right around here, this whole part of the map is completely exposed. We do have a bit of a... Oh, wow. More nukes coming out. 5 more nukes are sent out. Targeting this area over here. That actually looks like it might make it through. Yeah, it makes it through. Huh. Well, I'll be damned. Master actually managing to sneak a nuke past the anti-nuke systems here. I'm not sure exactly how that anti-nuke... the other one was able to fire. I guess it's because it's further back. That's why this one was able to take care of it, whereas this one, which was further forward, was not able to actually, keep up with all those nukes that came out there. Interesting to know. 5 is the golden number for, this distance here to here. So many of these missile ships here. One more nuke. Trying to target this area here, but that is fully protected by several anti-nuke ships, so I don't think that one is going to get through. The Marauders march forward. They're not ready to pop out from the beaches yet. This T2 production is eating up so much of this economy, though. Economy that's not really even there. We haven't really transitioned into an energy-based economy yet. We're still pretty much just a water-based, just metal extractors and that sort of thing. So yeah, I guess getting up to this T2 economy is quite nice here. We're gonna have the fusion reactor coming up. I'd love to see some energy converters coming up alongside this. Maybe some naval energy converters. Those are always nice. The T2 ones, I mean, we do have some T1 energy converters here. A lot of EMP bombers. Shut down these marauders. That's very nicely done. Yeah, basically all of this marauder push is shut down by a couple of EMP bombers. Really nicely done. Really well played there. I think these rocket ships have been doing more damage to the marauders than anything else. They just keep firing on over there, but they have hit so many of the marauders here, I think, at this point. Marauder over here. No reaction from Concept Chaos. He does have an active marauder in his base. There we go. Oh, ooh. Catapult fires on the friendly forces. Oh, come on, man. Okay, one of these labs survives. 1% health. Ooh. Catapult's got to be careful. Yeah, keeping those around for base defense is, well, it's a risky venture. Let's just say that. A purple juggernaut now marching forward. This can be deadly. We got to see a commander marching on as well. Concept Chaos has retreated instead of marching forward, which I think is the wrong idea here. Looks like we're starting up an economy back here. Concept Chaos is, I mean. I suppose I don't hate that at all, actually. I think that's probably a good idea. Although it probably should have happened a little while ago. More juggernauts. More. Cataphracts are nice, and I love the design of these guys, but yeah, they're not going to stand up against juggernauts. Womp, 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 womp. Juggernauts do not care. They're just walking sheets of wrought iron steel. Pure steel. They do not care. They'll shrug off any amount of damage that hits their front plate. Meanwhile, the siege continues here from blue. And I think we're expanding our economy a little bit here, although I'd love to see more expansion. You can see Red's expansion has been quite drastic. We have all of these fusion reactors going up. We have all of these. Let's actually check the economy difference here. We have 711 metal to 44,000 energy versus Blue's, 161 metal and 7,000 energy. So we are way, way further along in the economic game here for Red. And yeah, indeed, these juggernauts are moving forward. Looks like a commander went down there trying to stop the juggernauts. Looks like he must have gotten a few based on the craters that are left behind over here. JOP going in for the destruction on this juggernaut. Is it going to get this other one? Yeah, it looks like it'll get both of them at the cost of the entire commander. But it does manage to take down those juggernauts. Going to save this base for quite a while, but these juggernaut walk-bys are hurting more and more. See, each one of these isn't even leaving a wreck because they're being degunned, so there's nothing to reclaim here. Even though these res bots desperately want to reclaim something. Resurrecting the commander, that's a great idea, because after all, that's really the only thing they have right now to consistently deal with these juggernauts, is to bring these commanders back from the dead. This is a really dangerous looking push. This is a lot of mammoths here with the catapults for support. That's very, very nice. Love to see that. Yeah, those T1 units, they just melt away under that catapult fire for sure. Mammoth's not bad against those T1 units as well. Also, oh, that's funny. An EMP bomber has been EMP'd by his allies. You may not know this, but when a plane gets EMP'd in this game, it does not crash to the ground. It just is, it just gets, well, it like sits down. We see a Ragnarok here. We also see nukes here. Oh, I think they make it. Indeed. Wow, look at that firework. That was a lot of explosion. Buildings made out of TNT covered in paper here. We see a Ragnarok up and running here for Revelate. I guess that's what they've been pumping their energy into. But yeah, we have nowhere near the energy production in order to fund this thing. I think we should probably see... Oh, why are we disassembling this? We have Revelate now disassembling this Ragnarok. I'm not sure what the point is here. I think Revelate needs to just ask his teammates for energy production. I think that's probably the right idea. Just ask for a couple of advanced fusion reactors so that we can fire this thing. That being said, I mean, there's not a whole lot that this thing can fire at anymore, so I guess that's the reason why we're disassembling it here. It is going to give the entire team an economic boost whenever it's disassembled. It's going to be a while, though. Cost a lot of money. It's going to take a while to take apart eventually. Bombers actually brought over here to deal with this. A bit unconventional, but definitely it'll work. Enough of those bombers, they'll take down anything. Indeed, they break down those the catapults there. The mammoths push forward. They take out a bunch of T1 energy converters, but at this point we don't even really need those anymore. They're going to get stunned by a bunch of EMP bombers here. for the most part, get melted down by the static defense over here. Very nicely done. Very, very nice hold here by the blue team, or rather by the red team, holding against the blue team here. These EMP bombers being absolutely critical, making sure that none of these units can actually get their values worth as soon as they make it to the front lines. They just become helpless. And then the other bombers, the blizzards here, the strategic bombers used to pull down all of the units that are now stunned on the front lines. More nukes coming out here. We've seen quite a lot of anti-nukes come up though, so I think these are probably going to get shot down. Indeed, they will finally be shut down. How many anti-nukes are we at now? We've got 2 now. Starting up a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, 6th, a 7th. Yeah, we're a bit paranoid. I don't blame you though. After your next door neighbor gets completely wiped off the face of the map, I don't blame you for being a little bit scared that something could be coming for you next. This Ragnarok only 54% of the way done. Yeah, that thing's gonna take forever. I did see a Ragnarok on the back here. Yep, looks like we're all finished. Ragnarok up from Astaire. No targets yet, so we're just holding on here. But yeah, this thing can actually fire pretty far here. It looks like this is in a great position to fire onto this front line. I guess we could fire into Blue's army over here as well. We could take out this whole facility. That'd be quite nice. So yeah, there's some good targets here for this Ragnarok. Looks like it's finally going to be targeting something here. Capital ship. Not a bad idea. Rapid fire plasma cannon. Absolutely devastating. Couple percent per hit. There's not much that can stand up against that. Pretty much the Juggernaut. It's like the one unit, but even that will fall under a Ragnarok eventually. Yeah, the sounds of EMP bombers. They fill my ears. I absolutely love that unit. I think they're one of the best. How many gunships is this now? We've got 10 torpedo gunships. Not bad. Do we have any anti-air here? We have the laser turrets on these, of course. Do they have anti-air, though? They do. So yeah, these are going to have a hard time as well. These torpedo launcher the torpedo launcher ships, they're actually kind of dumb. Sometimes they'll launch their torpedoes above land. And then, yeah, they're not very effective when that happens. Right now, just desperately trying to hold the front lines here. Reclaiming whatever we can. Using Fiends to push back the T1 units. It's a great idea. Great option. Doing whatever we can to quell the forces here. The blue team has committed to spamming units. Definitely not the most elegant, but sometimes it can work. Kind of an interesting routing decision there. Goes here, and then up, and then back again. Makes kind of like a big checkmark shape. A lot of fighters coming out here, but these are all T1 fighters against these T2 fighters. You can see just how much more effective those T2 fighters are. God damn. They absolutely shred this push, and what was once a really substantial push has now been shut down completely. Yeah, absolutely need those T2 fighters, otherwise this stuff just gets melted. Unless you can produce like 4 times as many T1 fighters as the T2 fighters, you're definitely going to need way, way more. These EP bombers, however, still being a pain on the front line. I would love to see some fighters move forward here to go and actually take down some of these. I think that might make this push quite a lot better. For whatever reason, those are left alone here. Some sneaky cataphract trying to push around the side here. Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and push all the way to this edge. Not sure how effective that's going to be. Wouldn't take too much, maybe just a couple capital ships redirected in that direction to try and shut those down, but have they been spotted yet is the question. Looks like they finally come into radar view. Fatal Baguette does see them. Some of the ships even start firing at them. I wonder what the plan will be here. 4 juggernauts have now made land here. And man, those things are so powerful. They probably could just walk. I mean, we do see both of these commanders here have been resurrected, which is very, very nice. That does give them a fighting chance here at the very least. But it is definitely still a pain. Blue's army under quite a bit of siege. It looks like this Ragnarok has turned its nasty head towards the front line position over here. Going to be sort of quelling this spam of T1 units. Probably the least efficient way of shutting down T1 units. But you gotta do what you gotta do. These T1 bot labs here. Pumping out as many of these grunts as humanly possible. Or cortexally possible, I should say. Yeah, it looks like most of these cataphracts were shut down by just a few of these Black Hydra. Well, all of the Black Hydra. I shouldn't say just a few. It did take the entire force, although I don't think all of them were necessary. But all of the Black Hydra do mop up those cataphracts very nicely. Cataphracts very slow, very kind of grindy unit. You know, you just push forward very slowly. Commander here used to take down one of these juggernauts. There's still 3 remaining, and another one about to reinforce from the shoreline here. Second commander moving in for the D-gun. Gets the D-gun on one of them. The other two juggernauts turn their nasty heads towards the commander. They blow it up, and so that commander is down. And I think that leaves us with just one commander left for the blue team. It's going to be a Kai Higginbona's commander, and so he realizes this and tucks it back away into the corner. But that means there are no more commanders left to shut down these juggernauts. These juggernauts have free reign to march, and I think that's definitely what they should do. Fiends here brought to the front lines to try and sort of stall this push from blue here, stall out these units so that they can no longer keep marching forward. We do see some Titans on the bottom of this map, but they're gonna get EMP'd. I forgot that you could do that, but yeah, these are actually prone to EMP missiles. You can totally EMP these with EMP bombers and bring them down. Technically, you can EMP them with whatever, the Webbers, the Shuriken, whatever EMP source you have. But yeah, they're actually able to be frozen, and so these will be shut down, become inert, and made completely harmless. That hurts to see. Tangibility was probably hoping for a whole lot more out of those than he actually got. Juggernaut marching forward here. I'm not sure where the other one went. Wasn't there another Juggernaut on this field? Maybe I'm misremembering here. This Juggernaut is definitely marching forward, causing a lot of mayhem. Plenty of damage. Lights up a fusion reactor, fighting these bulwarks here. Bulwarks giving it their best, Captain. Giving it all she's got. We start the self-destruct. That's actually a really well-timed self-destruct. You might get that. Ooh, it's close. 3, 2. Ooh, it doesn't happen. Still a huge explosion from that Juggernaut going down. Really, really close to that self-destruct. That was actually really impressive timing. I'd love to see that. It looks like for the most part this line is hold, this Ragnarok being a huge pain for this Navy here that's trying to push but just cannot find a way to avoid being shot by this massive projector. I'd love to see some sort of naval shield battery built in, some sort of naval plasma deflector that you could cart around. Maybe attach it to the anti-nuke hovercraft thing or aircraft platform thing. Might be very nice. Titan on the beach here. Looks like we've also got some Paladins here, the Armada T2 cruiser, to mop up all of these crocodiles. Sorry, I thought they were the rocket hovercraft. These hovercraft tank for Armada here. Making sure that none of those get through. A few slip through, but I don't think there's enough to do a tremendous amount of damage. Another wave of Juggernauts is pushing forward, though. 3 of them this time. Now the defenses are looking quite scuffed. Yeah, the bulwarks indeed have been destroyed by the oppressive fire from these Black Hydra. The Juggernauts now moving forward, and these are looking very healthy. This is not looking good whatsoever. The Ragnarok, which has been out of power this entire time, finally turns around and starts firing here. Doing the best it can. You can see it gets about 1% every shot or so. Maybe more, maybe less. But definitely isn't going to be able to stand up against the Juggernaut's full-on assault. The Ragnarok lights up like a Christmas tree. And that is most of this forward base gone. These other 2 Juggernaut are stepping forward, and they do find these advanced fusion reactors, and I think this is enough to wipe out the forward bases here for the blue team. The laser beams hit, shotgun blasts, missiles, whatever it takes, the advanced fusion reactors go. That is most of light blue's production here, gone out the window. Some BM in the chat here. Darrow, the spectator, giving a bit of a commentation, a live commentation. A lot of ducks pushed forward here. That's quite nice. Look at all those ducks. They must have swarmed down from Yellow, who has actually established a nice little production. Yellow was our Navy player here, so actually rebuilding quite nicely. That's very commendable. These ducks are a great option. They're pretty tanky. They can definitely take a hit here. They can launch those torpedoes. They can be quite a pain. It's kind of a case of like neither army has the units to destroy the other army here. Wow, that is a lot of shuriken. It's like a UFO. Whoa. That was really cool. But yeah, these ducks keep marching forward, and they're definitely, if nothing else, distracting this blue player, so there's nothing else that these units can do. The Titan is pulled back. These Titans cannot attack these underwater units. They can only attack above water, so... Yeah, these ducks have actually been a tremendous little push here. Very, very nice. Juggernaut's still sweeping across the field, but I think this is going to be the end of the game. I'm going to speed it up here, see what we can find. We'll watch this in a framey 2x here, as I think this is probably approaching the end of this game. I don't see where the comeback could come into play here. We're looking at basically the final armies from both teams at this point. These crocodiles are moving in and destroying all this production down here. All these anti-nuke ships being blown apart. And I think that blue is suffering from a case of defeat. Juggernaut's finding the economy here of this light green player who looks like has forfeit from the match, has resigned. So it looks like this was just hollow economy. Energy from nowhere. And they light up very nicely. The Juggernauts push forward now, along with some Fiends for fire support. But I was going to try and do that with my hands, but I can't really. Not enough space. But it looks like the blue team will tap in there. I think that's a great place to call it. I think that was definitely a phenomenal hold here. An excellent example of the kind of lead that you can gain by winning the naval battle here. So I absolutely adore what they were doing on that naval front here, especially Fatal Baguette. Well done here, pushing with those Juggernauts, getting that production up, and especially scaling all of this economy. That was really nice. I bet if we take a look at these graphs, oh yeah, way far and above, huge economy growth. Enough economy to basically carry the team here. You can see, I mean, the economies of the other players here, like the next biggest one was orange, but then the next two under that were blue. So definitely a tremendous advantage here for the for the red team rather. So well done to them and congratulations. And to you, I say thank you for watching this far. If you made it this far, I really appreciate that. I'd hope you'd consider subscribing. I do post content like this daily, and it would be amazing to have you here on the channel. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video tomorrow.